The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Camping Show. I'm C.W. Getz.
And I'm Bianca Cahew.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, November 16th, 2022. We have a, how does weatherman say that? Yucky, 31-degree overcast skies here. It's just really gloomy.
I'm going to have to start getting used to the Bianca Fogel part because
right. That's right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
I have not changed that in this. If you've noticed that,
it's okay because I've hardly changed it on my end either. I'm barely just saying it now, and I'm just like, okay, I got to start getting used to this.
I think you just get a name tag, and we can, be easy for idiots like me that
It might be definitely.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. So we're just dealing with a spitty, snowy, not really snow, but it's
so cold, snowy.
Yeah, it's the whiskey winter weather, as they say.
Not
Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's for getting cuddly, watching movies, definitely having that mulled wine. I love mulled wine.
Or you could dip into. Did you dip into that bottle of tequila I got you for your wedding? It's really.
You are the one. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I put my name on it. It was autographed all over the place. You missed all that. I'm joking. I didn't sign it. I did put it in a bag with a card, so you should have seen it.
Okay, I was going to say, I have to look for that one.
Yeah. What other gift would I give you?
Exactly. Was it that blue tequila?
Yes, it was. I did not get you the doilies.
With gold, designs on it.
Yeah. I got you.
That was a beautiful bottle. We actually have that one on display. We have a kind of what looks like a cute little liquor shelf that's in our kitchen now, and it was a gift from Kyle's parents for our wedding. And so we have that tequila bottle kind of sitting there as just something that sits pretty. Not anything I'm going to crack open just yet.
Taste it when you do. Yeah, now give me a sample before you drink the whole damn thing. That's all I want, just a taste.
Okay.
Well, tonight's episode of the Camping Show is brought to you by Campground Views, making camping easier.
And Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
Tonight's episode is Self-Defense While Adventuring with our special guest, Nicholas Polo. Could you tell us a little bit about Nicholas, please?
Nicholas Polo, 54-year-old personal trainer and women's combat self-defense coach from London. Nicholas is a full qualified fitness coach. His development of the 10-day fat loss program offers a kickstart to a fitness plan that has been recognized by the media and followed by people worldwide. Nicholas is a certified boxing pad instructor and a British combat instructor, working with clients around the world. He's an advocate for mental health and understands the benefits of exercise in relation to mental health. Nicholas incorporates his expertise in boxing and Krav Maga self-defense to help improve fitness and its post-workout benefits. Nicholas has a master's degree in engineering management from the George Washington University. He's a certified level 3 YMCA personal trainer, a certified boxing strike pads trainer, and is certified in bell system training by the Institute of Krav Maga. Nicholas is also registered instructor with the British Combat Association. He is SIMSA accredited and registered with the Royal Parks in UK. Nicholas has collaborated with a number of institutions, including Two Chicks Empowerment Fund, the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson's Girls School, providing awareness and self-defense workshops there, and with Harley Therapy, where he demonstrates how exercise benefits mental health. Nicholas has also published a number of articles for Men's Health Magazine, Women's Health Magazine, Daily Mail, Mr. reporter, Metro, The Huffington Post, including his published article in Men's Health magazine, 7 Exercises to Lower Your Cholesterol, sponsored by the Bayer Corporation. Welcome, Nicholas. Such an
Welcome,
honor
Nicholas.
to have you here tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for being with you.
Yeah, it's like having Elvis on the show, man. You've done so much. Look at you.
The Elvis of health and fitness. I love it.
Yeah.
I,
Oh my God. That or Eddie Van Halen.
I
one of
actually
the-
didn't realize I had done all this.
Yeah, right.
You don't when you work so hard, I guess. My
Yeah.
my husband actually was featured in Men's Health, so that's very cool. He has a master's degree in
Okay.
exercise physiology and sports management, and he teaches up at the local
great.
college kinesiology, and he does some of the lab classes. So that's very interesting.
Excellent.
And aren't we
Yeah.
graced to be with all these hot men, Bianca? I mean, really, your husband and Nicholas and all these guys.
Yes, yes, very good-looking men.
Yeah, then there's me.
Thank you.
Hey, Nicholas, I want to get started by asking you, how did you get started teaching self-defense?
Sure. Yeah. So as Bianca, you said, I started more as a personal trainer, doing conventional personal training. Probably about 12 years ago, after we had our daughter, and there was a girl down the street from us, not far away from where we live, that was attacked by someone. And she put up a fight. Actually, she was 12 years old, put up a fight, and she managed to escape. And at that time, we're talking with my wife, and we said, well, for our daughter, we said, it's good that she learns does the ballet, and she learns French and all those things, but she needs to pick up a life skill probably at the same time. And soon enough, I think it was about 6 years old where she started doing self-defense herself and Krav Maga specifically. And it was at the same time I started, I developed interest, and I got qualified over the years. And that's kind of how I started.
Interesting. Very good. Very good.
How does self-defense differ from something like martial arts?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. And it comes up a lot, and people ask me that too. And they ask in general. They said, which which martial arts should follow and learn to for self-defense? And I think one thing to understand is that there's basically 3 main categories: what we call martial arts, and we're thinking more like a karate or something like that. We have combat sports, where you could be talking about boxing, kickboxing, those are the things we associate with. And then there's self-defense, which is more like street self-defense, what would happen in real life. Now, they all 3 categories overlap. There's commonalities. But when it comes to self-defense, now you could be the best boxer out there and it would help, but self-defense is a bit different, For example, the difference is with martial arts and combat sports is that you could have multiple attackers, and there's not really a sport that you have to fight 2 people at the same time. There's weapons involved in self-defense, or it could be involved. There are no rules usually, other than you're not supposed to be using excessive force, but basically it's you and the attacker. So there's things that if somebody basically shows up in front of you with a weapon, a knife, or something, you could be a great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete, but that might not necessarily help you in that situation. So I would say if you were to think about self-defense particularly, then I would just say go do something like Krav Maga, something like more real street self-defense.
Okay.
You mentioned street self-defense. How does this type of street defense lend itself to, let's say, adventuring, self-defense while you're adventuring? I mean, do these things cross over? Do they apply? Do they lend themselves in both areas, or what?
Yeah, I mean, self-defense, the way we teach it is it's different categories, different steps. For one thing is we have awareness, what we call awareness. So it's not just the technique that, where people say, okay, how am I going to escape from a choke attempt? You have the awareness, then you have the technique, then it's the speed of the response, the impact of the response, and then run to safety. So what I would just say that the awareness applies in whether it's a street self-defense, I'm walking down the street, or I'm leaving the house, or in the woods somewhere. And by awareness, we don't mean necessarily, being paranoid. Awareness is more like I'm riding a bike and I kind of know there's a car coming behind me. I see a pedestrian about to jump, further down. So I'm aware of what's happening around me, but I'm not paranoid. So same thing. If you're going to go to, on a trail, for example, it's similar thing. The difference, I would say, is obviously you're in a more remote location, most likely. Okay. So there's other elements I have to be taken into consideration, like preparation. If I'm going to go for a long walk on a trail, or camp, for a few days away, then I have to prepare. And what I would suggest is people think of the what if scenario. What if I get lost? Maybe make sure I tell people where I am, or where I'm going to be going. What if I get attacked and maybe escape, but I get a bit, pretty badly cut? Maybe I need more than a Band-Aid to have with me. It's all those things, the what if scenario that we don't usually think about it until. So it's not just the technique of, okay, how I'm gonna, put up a fight, but it's also hopefully think what will help you not to get to that position in the first place.
Right. Yeah, that's true. You had a story, and sorry, Bianca, I'm going to ask you. You had a story that you talked to me, you told me on the phone, and this was about you were in a park, and there was kind of a guy that was kind of giving you the creeps a little bit, right?
Yeah, what happened? It was during the lockdown, and there's a park close by where I live, which is we call it the Heath here. It's like a park, but it's a bit more wooden area. And we couldn't go to the gym at the time. I couldn't go to the gym. Everything was closed, but I could go to the park and do some pull-ups on the tree. And it was 6 a.m, and I was doing my pull-ups, and I kind of jumped down, and I turned around, and I could see a guy that was staring at me. And it was probably about 30 meters away from where I was. So what happened was I looked at him, we looked at each other, we stared at each other. Eventually, he walked away. 2 days later, the same thing happened, exactly same spot. Same time. It was a deja vu moment for me. But the second time around, I was, I did what I tell my clients to do: look very confident. Be prepared, look confident. Think of what you're going to do if you start walking towards you. So my point is, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, or, maybe statistically there might be more women being attacked usually. Right. But it doesn't, it could be anybody at any time. For whatever reason. I still don't know on this day what he was, what he was after, to be honest.
Maybe he needed a quarter for the phone. Sometimes
I don't know. He never said anything. I mean, that was it was like the movies, when the guy stares at you in the eye. You don't know what's going to happen, but it was pretty freaky. And consider the guy was twice my size.
Oh, wow!
I had no idea what he was.
You didn't tell me that before. I figured he was.
It was and the second time I did pay attention to him for the description in case I had to give the description. So he was pretty big guy wearing like a leather jacket. At the time, it was in July, and here it doesn't get too hot, but still, you wouldn't wear a leather jacket in July. And he had the big back in his, like a weekend back. So I don't know what was in there, but for whatever reason,
it sounds like a motorcycle game.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah, right.
But it was pretty scary, and in a way, I'm glad it happened to me, because this is literally only a few meters away where I train my clients.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's always a story I bring up and say, you see that tree? This is what I was. This is what happened to me. It doesn't mean you're female or you're a certain age or whatever. It can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
And you might not even know the reason.
Yeah. You were close to your training facility, I'm sure is like your second home. So it's another example. Is things can happen very close to home, and in your neighborhood. Definitely.
Correct. Yeah.
I always thought London was so safe and everyone is nice and polite over there, but things happen there like they do here too, right?
It happens everywhere. It could happen.
How does street self-defense lend itself to self-defense while adventuring?
Yeah, it's pretty much what I said earlier. You have to look at the categories, and awareness would be the first thing that I would just say, whether you're on the street or whether you're in the woods or far away from home. So be prepared. I mean, I would just say myself. If I were to take myself and I say, I'm not a camper, but if I was going to say, okay, I'm going to go away, for a few days or for a long walk, what would I take with me? So it is pretty much the same thing. Think of the what if situation, as I said earlier.
And what type of skills and tactics and techniques do you teach in your training classes? I know, unfortunately, you probably can't demonstrate for us, but what are some of the main, very important skills that you would say are worthy to know right now that you can explain to us in about a few minutes?
Yeah, the way I split the sessions usually is we talk a little bit about awareness, and I usually bring up real life scenarios, like the case that happened to me, or something I might have heard or might have come across. And we discuss this with the client, not to criticize to what might have happened to somebody else, but more like, oh, this thing could happen to you, then we go into more of the action, where we do boxing, we go over technique every time, and then we do what we call drills, basically, which is a lot of role play scenario. I pretend I come up to to my client, and then they have to deal with that really quick. There's a lot of ground drills, a lot of activity, kind of a lot of action to basically for them to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Basically, that's what it is.
Interesting. Oh. Bianca, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I'm like waiting for you to cut for commercial. Like, wait a minute, maybe she lost that. Maybe she got kicked off the show.
No. I almost thought I was frozen for a little bit.
Yeah, well,
but I'm here. I'm not
that.
frozen. I'm very well thawed and warm. We'll be right back with more of the camping show with Nicholas Polo on Talk 4 TV and W4CY Radio. Stay tuned. Be right back.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutobaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
And we're back with our guest, Nicholas Polo, here on The Camping Show. Nicholas, do you train men differently than you train women? I mean, and that's kind of the, well, you can explain you can explain if you do and why you do. Go ahead.
Yeah. Not really. In Krav Maga, actually, which is what I teach, we teach men and women the same thing, or the same way. Rather, statistically, yes, maybe more women will get attacked, and more women may get attacked for different things than men, statistically speaking. But if you remember my example, for example, it could have been one of those cases. Because what we do is we try to, it will be similar to what a smaller person like me would have to do dealing with a much larger person. So,
I mean,
and we would go for, yeah, go ahead.
same techniques. I mean, in everything. And they're doing exactly the same things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, women and men may have different strengths,
Right.
right?
That's
But
where I
you
was
would
going.
go for, yeah, but you would still go for the weak points of the attacker, and you would
Okay.
still go on a full blown attack yourself, like counterattack.
Okay.
At the weak points of a person, whether eyeballs, groin, or whatever it is, it's the same for
Same
whether
effect.
you're a big guy or a small person. I think what we do is more with women, but again, it's a similar thing to men. Like if you fall on the ground, the attacker usually, comes on you, using the upper body more.
Okay.
While on the ground, you might be using, facing the attacker, you might be using more your lower body, your hips or your legs, and you find women have a very strong lower body.
Oh, wow.
So there's benefits to, women that may have different strengths, as I said, than men, or smaller guys may have different strengths than a small bigger person. But in terms of technique, is the same pretty much.
So by and large, women have more lower body strength proportionally than men.
I don't know if it's stronger, but I don't know if you. What you would see is that, I do this experiment, just to prove a lot of times when you fall on the floor,
Yeah.
most people, obviously you don't want to be on the ground,
Right. Right.
ideally.
Right.
And if you go on the ground, you want to get up as quick as possible. But you may end up on the ground, because most fights you'll end up on the ground.
Yeah.
One way or on the ground. Either you trip or they trip you, whatever. And what I do with this kind of not experiment, to show them, it's like they lie down on the ground with their feet up, with their legs up. Because that's the first thing you want to do, is you want to have your legs up to protect, push away the other person. And I push their legs, their feet with my arm. So, and I always say, and I cannot push it down. And I always say, your leg press is probably stronger than my chest press, or about the same.
Wow.
Now, okay, I'm not the biggest guy on the planet, but still, then from there, then they realize, oh, my legs are pretty strong. And if I can kick the person on the face as they're leaning down, great, buy some time. Then I have to see how I'm going to get up. There are techniques there how to get up really quickly.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And recover from that. But, and again, if somebody is on you, you're on the ground, is on you, and again, that's not where you want to be. But you will most likely, most techniques, you will use your hips and your legs to push them off you, and go really explosive. So we demonstrate that a lot, during the sessions. And if you've seen some of the clips on my Instagram account, it's amazing what they can.
Nicholas, I got the hell beat out of me once on the ground, and I'm okay if I'm up, because I used to be a boxer, but I was a pretty decent boxer. But man, you get the hell beat out of you if you're on the ground.
Oh yeah. That's why you don't want to be there.
That's why I look like this.
No, that's one place you don't want to be. But it will probably happen, unless you can run really fast away from or something. But in a fight, there's a very good chance you'll end up there. So.
And I think it's so true about women being just as strong as men can be, or even stronger. In their lower extremities, because you see it on social media. You've seen it for a long time with when fitness was just starting to get popular on social media. You see all the videos of females with their friends or their partners or what have you, squatting just as much as their partner does, as their husband.
It's not more.
It's absolutely true. And I might not be able, like, let's say for instance, me in CW, I personally think with growing up and playing soccer all my life and weight training, I'm pretty sure that I can take you down in a leg press, but not a bench press. I'll say that for sure. But I think that
I hear a challenge here.
Absolutely true.
That's true. I mean, the idea changed a lot over the years from when I started as a personal trainer. I remember, because most of my clients traditionally have been women. The first thing they told me is like, look, I don't want to end up, when they first started with me, they would say, I don't want to look like Arnold. And I said, well, you're not going to, it doesn't happen like that. But it changed so much now. Nobody says that. Now that everybody says, I want to look, women, they're like, I want to be strong, and they do a lot of leg press and deadlifts, and some of my clients, they they lift more than I do, so
Wow.
they squat more than I do. So there is a strength there. And I also see it with some of my clients I have when we do self-defense. They also, because they're young, they're maybe their 20s, and they might be also start training a bit more seriously at the gym. It's amazing how you see the change over time, how they get stronger physically, while they're also learning self-defense. So there's a huge progress. So, and I always repeat that, just because you end up on the ground does not mean that, it's over. There's still, it's a long way, hopefully, from being over. You just need to get up quickly. That's the thing.
How long does it take most of your trainees to build confidence? When can they feel adequately prepared to handle most situations? Because I know it can be different for everybody, just like it is learning a sport and learning anything. People learn quicker than others. People are more in tune with their bodies than others. What could you say would be like a time frame for people to start feeling that confidence?
Yeah, to take a step back, because people these days, they want something quick, right? They want to do two. I mean, I get that a lot. Sometimes they say, well, can we have a few sessions I can learn the basics? And it doesn't work exactly like that. But for somebody to learn, for example, Krav Maga and be competent enough to say I've got a black belt or whatever, it's a 7-year process, right? So you're not going to compress 7 years into sessions. It's not going to happen. And again, it's not because there's so many different techniques or so many different methods of how you're gonna. It's because you have to keep repeating again the same so many times that when something happens, your instinct goes and you don't even think why, you just block the punch. Now, obviously, most people don't want to, and they don't actually spend that much time, years to learn. But what I see is that I would just say any new client I have, I would just say by the time they do the 4th or 5th session, there is a huge difference. And then when I look back, it's not necessarily that they learn so much technique in 5 sessions. It's the confidence that changes. I do have some clients that they come to me. I usually, when a new client comes, I always say, well, anything happened in the past that you're interested in, in self-defense or whatever. And a good, I would say 30% is victims of stalking. So their confidence has been pretty low. Once they realize somebody's stalking them for a while and the police won't do anything or whatever, then the confidence it's pretty low, and that takes a bit. You need to start with that first. And that's why the sessions are pretty active. The sessions I do are pretty, intense and grueling, because they need to overcome that. But as I said, it's like I have a client just started. We've done the 3rd session right now. It's a huge difference between the 1st session and the 3rd session, just on confidence alone. Yeah. Now, obviously, they know me and they know it. They're not in danger. But that itself helps. The way they walk and the way they present themselves, the way if somebody comes up and
absolutely
approach them,
absolutely.
How are they going to react to that, and how they're going to cut it off. So I would just say, but then again,
there's no quick.
There is no quick
zip
fix.
there fast, and give me the 5-step court.
There is not such a thing. You'll improve, and as I said, there is a big jump between the 1st session and the 5th session.
Yeah.
But where I see the difference, where I say, okay, somebody is comfortable enough to maybe deal with the situation, I would just say a year to do it. And you have to do it regularly, because you have to keep repeating it. You have to keep repeating the same thing. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What happens when there's a weapon involved?
Yeah, weapons is something that we go over. It's a bit something we tend to leave, especially guns, we tend to leave it further down in teaching, because it's a bit more, just because you don't want to give the impression to the client that, okay, I'll learn how to deal with that, and it's not that easy.
Yeah, right.
But the weapon, we do go through that, and because that's where it's
like
that's where self-defense is different from martial arts, as I would say.
Right.
Like in jiu-jitsu, nobody pulls out the gun,
right.
or boxing or whatever. So there's different techniques as to how. Again, there is no one thing to mention is that there is no one move. You go to some clips on YouTube and you see a guy and the master of something says, "This is the move that's going to, save you." There is not such a thing.
Oh,
everything is so different. There's so many factors happening.
yeah. Every situation is different too,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. I mean, the drills I do with my clients is just me and the same person, and we could be doing 20 drills in a week, and every time is different because the way they fell or the way I fell, it's like so. And this is two people that they are the same. So imagine how different people, different situation, different stress levels and everything like that. But yeah, when we talk about weapons in general, we kind of split them in three categories, which is knives, which is pretty common here in the UK, guns, a bit more common maybe in the US, and long objects like an iron bar or a baseball bat or something like that. And the idea with which it depends on the object and the distance. If you cannot run, obviously, if it's a long object like an iron bar is coming, a guy is lifting and it's about to hit you. Certain cases like that, you may have to close the distance and go for the attacker. So they cannot, before the bar comes on your head, to go to the attacker. So if it is a gun or a knife, you may have to deflect it and get out of the line of the the attack.
On fire, yeah.
Correct.
How can age or fitness level be a factor for self-defense ability?
Yeah, obviously the fitter you are, the better. So yeah, obviously, because you'll get up quicker, your coordination is going to be quicker, better. So I do see a difference for the clients that I have that are in their 20s, and especially the ones who do sports already, or I have one that is a professional dancer. Those people they're more flexible, they can move quicker, they're better coordination, so and their fitness level is better, so their endurance is better.
Yeah,
right.
So it does make a difference.
So that's right. So obviously but saying that, everybody will improve, right? So, and I'll give some. So yeah, maybe they might not be at the same level, but they will improve from where they are now.
Sure.
So I do have a lady that joined with me about a year. That's why I was mentioning about a year. It's a good time to. She was mid-40s, had never done anything remotely, not even punch a bag, like nothing to that. And by the end of the year, I mean, if she attacked me, I would have to. I mean, she would just take my ass out. So I said to her, if you just respond like that, if something happens, God forbid, you respond like that, then I feel sorry for the attacker. Yeah. So she did improve hugely from where she started, and maybe she came pretty close to the 20-year-olds, which is pretty. So maybe the endurance wasn't quite there. Maybe that's something we had to work, but she did improve. So obviously, as I said, the fitter you start with, the better. But you'll still improve from.
That wasn't Sherry, was it, by any chance?
Sorry,
that wasn't my cousin Sherry, was it, by any chance?
No. Your cousin Sherry is very good.
Mid-40s and
No, my God. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back with more of the Camping Show on Talk 4 TV and W4CY Radio. Stay tuned after the break.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutubaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
We are back with our guest Nicholas Polo here on the Camping Show. Juan, we have a video and we've got some photos that Nicholas sent us, and let's go ahead and let those roll.
To be able to be empowered by combat, you need to check out Nicholas Polo.
I love the trainings because it really clears my mind. I can't think of anything but the job at
This
hand.
method of women's combat is wonderful. I highly recommend it. Lots of love. Stay safe.
See, that was cool. I like that, especially the last one there. It's really a big old chest.
That was during the pandemic. Hence the stay safe thing.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, you got some photos here. Let's put those up if we could, one, and we'll have Nicholas tell about this. All right. What are we looking at here, Nicholas?
So this is my best friend, Joanna, and she's black belt jiu-jitsu athlete and teacher.
Wow.
As I said, jiu-jitsu is a bit different, obviously, but it's very popular these days, so especially in the UK with women too. But being great friends and being in the same industry, we meet once in a while, apart from having a coffee. But we actually meet. This is I think the most recent picture in her studio, where we exchange information, we exchange experiences. You know, she has clients that they've been through certain things, or herself or myself, the same thing, and we try to come up with you know, what move might be better, how do you escape from certain moves, what you better to do. And as I said, it's not just techniques. We also talk about other things like awareness. De-escalation is another one. Like maybe try to calm the other person down before things. So she's great. I mean, she's a great friend, but she's also a great person to work with. This is my family. This is my wife and my daughter. My daughter's 13, going 14 in April. You can see she's slightly taller than me. So,
Wow.
so she came a long way since as I said, she started self-defense when she was 6. She started Krav Maga actually, and she continued from there. So
Very cool. Very cool. That's not a family portrait, is it? It could be.
This is a family. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I'm trying to remember where that picture was taken. I think this picture is taken in either Ibiza or the Canary Islands. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Put a frame around that. That's suitable for framing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my lawyer.
That's who? What?
That's my lawyer.
Oh wow.
My property
lawyer
lawyer
doesn't look anything like that.
He's my property lawyer, our property lawyer, and she struck a great deal for us about last year. And I said to her, "Well, you know what? Why don't you? I'll give you a free session of self-defense." And said, "Yeah, why not?" And since then, we've been training together every other Friday. And she's pretty fierce. Being a lawyer, and it's good to have her on my side.
Yeah, interesting. Very cool. Okay, there we go. I was going to say, no, there's more pictures.
Yeah, this is when I travel, sometimes work doesn't stop with me.
Yeah. Is that you out there?
That's me. I look like a goat.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say that, but no.
That's me. Yeah. So what's happened? This is the summer. We were in Greece, in our favorite island, Ithaca, nice. And while we're at the beach, I had to make a Zoom call session. So I got my tripod, my camera, my phone, and awesome. I had to climb up on like a wild goat on the cliff. And then my wife took the picture, so it's pretty
nice.
So yeah, sessions do continue usually, even when I'm away. Okay, this is the guy in the middle is a guy I trained with. He's a black belt Krav Maga as well. Mm-hmm. He's been everywhere. He's Brazilian. He has black belts in karate. He worked as security officer in Rio. He worked in Miami as a police officer. Wow. He's been to Poland training weapons. He's been to Israel. So he's been. I mean, he's like probably the top person in the UK. Actually.
Wow.
My daughter obviously on the other side. But what this is that we did. If you can see the on the back, we have this. It's a red London bus.
Yes.
The old buses. Actually, those didn't have a door. I mean, there was no. You would just jump on the bus, but they don't do that anymore because it's not safe. But what we did was a session of practicing self-defense on a bus, on a moving vehicle. And then we were 20 of us. We booked the bus basically, so it was 20 of us, and it was like 3 hour, very intense session. And you realize how much more difficult it is when you're in a closed, in a closed space. And then you get up, somebody, for example, we were practicing, somebody jumps behind you while you're sitting down to strangle you, and you have to get up. And then at the same time, those buses are really narrow.
Yeah.
I mean, people got bigger since then. I don't know, but
I saw pictures of that, but did you actually post a video of that too? I don't remember.
Yeah. It's on my Instagram. If you go further, few posts back
It was
down.
extremely cool, man. I mean, I thought
it was
that
extremely
great.
cool. I mean, we had few bruises afterwards, but it was very educational to see what would happen if you're in a moving vehicle, whether there's a train or I don't know if in the States probably it's not as common, but here in the UK we did have quite a few attacks on the train or the metro.
We have that in New York subway.
Yeah, and it is correct. So it's a completely different story because there's other variables going at the same time. If you're in a closed space and you try to escape or to deal with an attacker. So. All right, this is the lady actually I was talking about, the mid-40s lady.
Oh, wow.
Who's trying to strangle me here. And what this shows is that a lot of the sessions are with the idea to get the client to, I don't necessarily like the word empowered, but to feel that they have the upper hand.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to mess around with them. It has to be get a bit down and dirty, let's say. But you asked me earlier about weapons and things like that. And if you can see here, she's kind of trying to strangle me.
Yeah.
So, it's not just it's people ask me, well, how do I escape from that? How do I escape from a choke attack? How do I escape from a headlock? Or how do I escape from a knife threat? That's good to know. But you also need, especially in Krav Maga, you also need to know how to attack yourself.
Some offense, yeah.
Correct. Right. Yeah. So that's why I call my sessions more like I call them combat training.
Combat.
Because it's almost like I'm trying to teach them to get to a point where they feel like, you messed with me. Well, now I'm the fighter. I'm the attacker. You have to turn the table.
Kind of like Ukraine and Russia, man. Like you
correct, like that.
Yeah. Man, right. Yeah,
exactly. Still to feel like okay, you messed with the wrong person.
That's right.
It's not as easy as that, but that's part of the training. And again, this is my lawyer actually, where she's basically trying to come down with her forearm onto my neck. She wouldn't probably in real life. She would do that on my face.
Oh wow!
Rather than my neck, but it's still
same effect.
It's still. I get them to attack to a point where I have to tap, to a point where the strike is maybe not as hard enough, but I know if I continue another second, if they're about to strangle me, to choke me, I know that I'll tap because I know, okay, we have 2 more seconds to go. But I need to get them to realize what is to see through, that's why the sessions, that's why I said earlier that there is not just a one move. You need to go to get physical to understand what it takes to, so that's again, Nicole. That's my daughter a few years ago. And if you see the t-shirt, it says, choose therapy. That's your cousin's
I think,
therapy. Yeah.
I think I saw Sherry wear that shirt.
That's right. Yeah. That's cool. Yes, he has all different colors.
Oh, cool.
I think I got the white one because it kind of went better with
I never even
I usually wear black. And my wife is taking the pictures, and I think we kept saying hurry up because we can't stay like this for too long.
Right. All the blood's rushing to her head, right?
Exactly.
I love it.
That's a girl. She's 17 here. She's 17 years old, Eva, and she's just turned 18. And she just loves those sessions. She comes every Saturday to train. She also trains. That's an example where she also trains legs a lot at the gym, and hips, probably a couple of times a week, plus the upper body. And it kind of started. We actually trained together at the gym once a week, but so. Both training regime start at the same time. So it's interesting to see her technique improving, but confidence, she never lacked confidence. Actually, this one, she was very confident day one. But
I'm sure that's half of it right there.
Yeah, which is half of it, right? Exactly. So it's really cool to see how she improved technique, but at the same time, she got stronger. So it makes it more difficult for the attacker basically to overcome.
Do you offer online classes as well as your in-person training, or how would that work?
Yeah, so I do offer, I do one-to-one Zoom. I obviously do one-to-one Zoom quite a bit for conventional training. When it comes to self-defense, I consider it's more of the beginning of, if somebody wants to start self-defense, it would be more of the beginning of their training. So I would spend more time talking about awareness, talking about preparation, understand where they might be coming from, if there was something in the past that triggered something, and talk some basic technique. But as I said, because I don't want to fool people, it's like, as you can see from the pictures, to understand self-defense or combat training of some sort, you need to get physical. And you'll find some teachers, they'll tell you, oh yeah, you can even, they'll promise you a black belt online, right?
Yeah.
And I think usually their approach is like, well, find a friend and I can through the Zoom or whatever, I can teach, you grab him and you do that and you block or whatever. It's not the same.
No, I'm sure.
Because they won't know exactly. And to give you a very simple example, to choke somebody to put them to sleep or to death, it takes like probably 1 second.
Oh, wow.
If you know what you're doing, it's literally a second or two, right? If I don't show that to the client, and they don't do it, they also have to do it on me to understand themselves of what it takes to do it. It's difficult to take two people and say, okay, you do that to him, and they, you do back. So I would take them up to a point, and then I would just say, okay, now you need to go and find somebody more local. To do that, because that would be the way. And that's how I started too. When I started, I did look at all different options, how I can do this maybe quicker, maybe I can do some course online. And then I realized, no, it's not gonna.
You can only do so much online.
Yeah, you can, exactly. You can start, you can learn quite a bit at the beginning. But eventually it needs to get pretty physical, understand what it takes, how it feels if somebody really grabs you, throws you down the ground. You're not going to learn that online just watching the video. It's not the same thing. You're not going to have the same level of stress, maybe.
Cyber attacks are much different than physical attacks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ask Russia about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Where can our audience go to learn more about classes you offer? Sign up, follow you on Instagram, social media. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say my website, which is nicolaspol.com. That's more geared towards my conventional personal training and the fat loss programs you mentioned at the beginning, because then they can download those and do it remotely. When it comes to self-defense and combat training, I would just say more my Instagram is better. There's a lot of clips there that they get a pretty good idea of what's happening. And I find they're pretty inspirational. So clients, they're like, oh, if she's doing it, I do. It's not necessarily something, I mean, the sessions are pretty unique, I have to say, for one-to-one sessions outside the studio.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people that they come to me, they come because their friend came to me. Right. Or they saw a clip online and they're living in London and they say, okay, well, if she's doing it, I can do it. Oh, this looks cool. I can, I think I can take up with that. But so I would just say Instagram mainly for self-defense.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we'd like to thank you, Nicholas, for being our guest here on the Camping Show this evening. It was always definitely a pleasure having you here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Best of luck to you and all of your students, all of your pupils.
Absolutely.
If you are here, Bianca, ever in London, come and take a session.
Oh my God, that would be so cool. And I love self-defense.
I heard a
Although
challenge
now-
there, too.
I'm a fighter girl too. I'd be
Yeah,
ready
I can tell.
And we'd like to thank each of our sponsors for bringing you tonight's show, Campground Views and Rutabaga Paddle Sports.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode, Patagonia Group Experience with our special guest, Sarah Scott.
Until then, I'm Bianca Cahew reminding you, learn more and do more. Have
See
a
you
good
next
night,
week.
everyone.